Welcome back to the Gaming Weekly, everybody, and we are drawing closer and closer. We are getting near to October 31st of 2022. In other words, that is the Killer Clown Purge that is expected to happen on Halloween night. And again, the Killer Clowns have been vowing, and they've been saying over the past couple of days, and really over the next few months now, that the Killer Clowns are going to make sure they're going to rise up in groups and take down this entire globe. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are worried, they're petrified, and they're really trembling because of the threats made by the Killer Clown. But have no fear, because the Gaming Weekly tonight in this exclusive video will be telling you a couple of different tips to survive the Killer Clown Purge. And that is correct. To survive the Killer Clown Purge, it's going to be imperative for you guys to follow these tips extensively, because this is the only way you can survive the purge that the Killer Clowns are looking to conduct. So have no fear, TGW is here. I guess I'm rhyming now, but again, do not be afraid. I know there's a lot of people out there who have been trembling. They have been disturbed by this. They are petrified, as I mentioned. And I understand. I mean, this Killer Clown stuff is no joke, and it really is disturbing, to say the least. But we do have some tips. There are many different possible ways to stay safe and actually survive this Killer Clown Purge expected to transpire on Halloween night on October 31st of 2022, which is a little bit less, I should say a little bit over, a month from now. And again, it's going to be important for everyone to basically share this video around. That's one thing that you're going to want to do. But we have many different tips for you to follow, including the first tip that we have and that we need to emphasize and stress: make sure to stay in groups. Now, this may seem obvious, but after reading the previous stories, there is an overabundant amount of people who actually go outside alone, or walk to school, or even walk home alone, or even roam around the night alone. So here's what you need to do. If you decide to go outside at nighttime, do not do it alone. If you go out alone, by the way, you're putting yourself at risk, and you're basically vulnerable at that point in time. And obviously you don't want that. The Killer Clowns tend to seek after those who are, well, basically vulnerable and alone. So the Killer Clowns will almost never go after you if you're in groups. Now, this is because you'll have a fighting chance in actually taking them down. So again, it's going to be very critical for you guys to make sure, if you guys go outside alone, to make sure you stay in groups, whether if it's family members, whether if it's friends, whatever the case may be. Just never be alone. That is if you choose to go outside. Now, the same actually goes for walking home to school. We noticed a pattern, a trend from these Killer Clowns, and we realized that these Killer Clowns stuck in very isolated areas. You know, isolated areas such as the forests, isolated areas such as the woods, and they always want to see who's there walking alone at school. And once they realize who's walking home alone, that's when they eventually strike. So it's best for you to get your friends and walk with them, or take a bus, or ask your parents to take you home if you're walking home from school alone, or vice versa. You know, if you're walking from home, usually these Killer Clowns tend to stalk most of the students in the afternoon, when most of them actually are released from school. So that's something that you're going to want to keep an eye out. Nonetheless, though, what if you are alone? What if you have no other choice and have to walk alone? Well, here's the next tip we have for you. Make sure to check your surroundings first. If you see any forests or woods, or any isolated areas for that matter, do what you can to walk the opposite way. Now, if you know a different route, then it's best for you to actually take that alternative route at that point in time. Now, let's say you have to go through the woods or the forests, and again, you have to walk through it alone. What you need to do is have your phone in handy and FaceTime someone you trust to keep you company. And on the other hand, make sure to carry something hard and thick. You know, we, part of the Gaming Weekly, do not condone for you to carry any firearms, any knives, or any weapons of that nature. However, if you are carrying something like a textbook, for example, with a hard cover, or perhaps your own book bag, you can use that as something to attack if a Killer Clown creeps on you and does stalk you and eventually puts his hands on you. So again, if you have something that is hard, then you can very well use that to try to thwart the Killer Clowns there. And it's going to be very important for you to check your surroundings. That is, if you are alone, you have no other choice but to be alone. If you are alone and you have to walk, or you have to go outside alone and you have no other choice, check your surroundings, look to your left, look to your right, behind you, in front of you. Analyze your environment, and if you see something unsettling, immediately walk away from that scene. Immediately walk away and try to find a different route at that point in time. Or if you have no other route, then again, if you don't see anyone, if you don't see anything, then walk with your phone, have somebody accompany with you through FaceTime, and keep something in handy so you can use it as a weapon. Now, the next tip is quite simple. Do not go out at nighttime. It's already bad enough that the killer clowns are wanting to invade your homes, or at least preparing to purge your homes by the 31st of October. To avoid any confrontations and any invasions, make sure to stay indoors and don't draw attention to yourself. Make sure to relax, play some video games, watch some YouTube, watch the Gaming Weekly, watch some movies, keep yourself occupied during this purge era. And I mean, the most that you can do is just basically relax. That's all you have to do. Because most people, by the way, I've seen this as well, most of the time when people are indoors in their own house and they see a killer clown, sometimes they go out, get their phone and start recording those killer clowns, and guess what happens? The killer clown realizes what's happening and they start walking towards them. So the more you draw less attention to yourself, the less likely the killer clowns will strike against you. So make sure to stay indoors and do not draw attention. It's important, it's imperative to stay indoors, especially when it gets night. And also, if you see a killer clown and you're inside your home, do not provoke it. Do not record. Do not go outside. Do not get your phone. Don't do anything of that nature. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. And the final tip, but certainly not the least, but definitely the most controversial, is to not go out trick-or-treating on Halloween. Yes, I know it's a day to dress up as your favorite movie hero or villain. It's a day to dress up as anyone you aspire to be. And it's the day to get free candy. And I understand that, but your life is a lot more important. Because on October 31st of this year, the killer clowns are expecting to go out in the streets and purge, and they are looking to abduct people. And it's going to be very, very critical and crucial for you to stay away from all of that. The most alarming part to this is how the killer clowns are going to pretend to be nice to some out there. And, there's going to be some killer clowns offering candy on Halloween night. They're going to be very, very kind. They're going to seem to be the nicest people in the world. But behind that facade is an evil, wicked, sinful, demonic monster. One who is craving for destruction and seething for total chaos. And that's why it's going to be, again, and the word important is going to be used here a lot because it's very, very important. It's extremely important for you to follow these tips. I mean, if you want to avoid chaos, if you want to avoid all of this that is expected to happen over the next few weeks, and on the 31st to be more exact, of October that is, you have to make sure that you stay away and you do not go trick-or-treating. So do not fall for it, by the way, if somehow, some way, if you come across a friendly killer clown. The ones with the evil clown masks are the ones that you need to stay away from. So remember that. If you ever see a person with a killer clown mask that looks incredibly sinister but is being nice, don't fall for it, because sooner or later it's going to try to trick you, and it may abduct you and of course take you away, which is something that nobody wants to see. Obviously, we cannot deal with this. Nonetheless, the best thing for you to do on Halloween is to stay home, eat some candy bought from the store, of course, get on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, play some games, watch some Netflix, watch any kinds of videos on YouTube that will calm you down. It's best to make sure that you're safe as opposed to being victims of these killer clowns. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, there's so many different tips that we have for these killer clowns. It's going to be very important for you guys to follow each of these tips. We've been saying it over the past few days, and we're going to continue to say it over the next couple of weeks, how the killer clowns are looking to rise up in groups. They're looking to perhaps maybe purge on the 31st of October. We spoke to a lot of different clowns, and they are adamant. They are serious about this. They're hell-bent to make sure that they're going to rise up and actually destroy everything they see, and of course purge the entire world on the 31st of October. So these are some tips for you to really survive the killer clown pandemic that is expected to happen on the 31st of October. So listen, there's really a lot of different things happening. There's going to be a lot more happening over the next few weeks. TGW will indeed report on these stories that are transpiring, but it's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to all of you watching this video to make sure that you follow the tips. And it's going to be up to all of you watching here tonight to make sure that you understand exactly what is happening. And it's going to be up to you at the end of the day to make sure you follow the tips that we just produced in this video. Again, we can't stress this enough. The way for killer clowns to be weakened is for people to spread information all over, plaster the video all over social media, whether if it's Snapchat or YouTube or if it's Instagram and Twitter and so forth. Make sure you do everything in your own power to share the videos. That way people are going to be well prepared, especially this video. This video must be shared all over because people need to know the tips. People need to follow the tips on what to do and to survive a killer clown purge. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time in the Gaming Weekly. And again, we will see you next time with more content dealing with killer clowns. I'll tell you, it really is getting more creepy and creepy as the days and weeks progress, building up to October 31st, 2022. Thanks for joining us.